today we're having a dialogue or an engagement with young public servants of our Free State province. We saw about 1,000 young people in our midst today, and it was just an open dialogue as to some of the challenges young public servants experience within the public sector Free State province. So one of the key issues was mentorship and the ability to see progression in the public service. So as I am planning to do this practically, I'm asking Mr. Asive, Office of the Premier, who is in the youth component, to provide the purpose of today, and I will come in with some of the recommendations.
All right. So the purpose of today was number one, to engage with young public servants. Number one, to be able to understand where they are, but also to be able to understand how do we build and inculcate a vibrant and a young public service workforce. But also number two, that understanding that the majority of South Africans is actually young people. How do we derive the dividends or exploit the fact that we have young public servants to be able to respond directly to some of these issues that young people are facing?
We as young public service employees have a very important role to play in making sure that the vision and the mission of the Free State provincial government are carried. We need to make sure and engage in order to make sure that we've got definable variables or deliverables, and making sure that as we do that, we continue to engage. We continue to talk to each other to ensure that we listen to each other and have an effective service delivery forum.
Here is the theme for today's event: to create a civil service that is guided and is directed by a spirit of patriotism. A civil service that is willing to open up to dialogue and to have engagements. A civil service that in its system, young people thrive. A civil service that can create a platform where we can all gather and come together and to discuss our issues. When you look at all of these issues, one word can sum it all up, which is patriotism. Patriotism. See, you cannot be patriotic and not understand that it's important for us to have engagements, for us to sit and have dialogue. You cannot be angry early in the morning when you get to the office.
Let us introspect and start appreciating what we have. Because there is a lot of people out there, young people your age, balak atsang ikare ikebele bona ditulong tsena tse o le ditsong ho tsona akere ba bangata ba batlang ho ba mona mo le dutseng teng, but you guys are the chosen lucky ones to be here because you are also like you are able to put something on the table for your families. In tlisa tabeng ya hore ha o qeta wa appreciate mosebetsi wa hao kapa ha o qeta wa appreciate the fact that you have a job, that it makes it easier for you to be able to deliver. Because you now appreciate the fact that if I don't deliver, then ke fail mmuso wa province of Free State.
My take or piece of cake during the engagements, it was about oppression. It goes without saying that the concerns of our people, especially young people or particularly young people in public service, are not really recognized in accordance with how it should be done.
I think for us to come up with the solutions as well, we need to work on the issues that we come across at the workplace. And May mentioned that we have to have fairness and growth at work. When it is the time or your turn to get an opportunity for promotion in my department, they take someone who's younger than you or who's younger than you in terms of work experience or years at work, and then they would put him in front of you to supervise you. When it comes to that one, that we need help because it is discouraging and demoralizing.
Let's have a competition where as public servant we learn from each other of what is expected of us. Yes, there is PDMS, where as public servant we are appraised for what we are doing, but that system is not transparent enough to say a constructive competition will be a good point to have. I know due to budget we don't have money, but I think starting with a certificate and then moving on with the incentive 5-day, 10 days flight to Hawaii. We'll get there.
Because all of us here today are young people, first and foremost, who have made a conscious decision that we want to serve our country. Because if you think about the word public service, the most important element of it is that you are a servant. And by virtue of us having applied for the various positions and the various jobs and the various, posts that we are currently fulfilling, crucial to that is the element of service. And all of us seated in this room today decided that as young as we are, what we want to do every day, when we wake up every day, we want to wake up every day and serve the people of South Africa to ensure that this democracy that we are today, rather this year celebrating 30 years of, is a project that we are in the process of consolidating.
I was quite pleased by the numbers that I had, though there are some departments where I think we can do better in terms of numbers. But in general, I think, given that the Free State is also a very youthful province, there is some level of representation of young people. But the key question or the key issue here when we speak about a youthful and effective workforce, in my view, we can start by locating it in our constitution, specifically Section 1951H.